two things can't both be true. You can't take care of your skin, drink your water, wear your sunscreen, use every serum your dermatologist recommends, and still watch your jawline slowly disappear. You can't do everything right on the surface and still see your face falling. But that's exactly what's happening to millions of people right now. And if you're over 50, there's a good chance it's happening to you. So let me ask you something. What if the reason your face is changing has absolutely nothing to do with your face? What if the structure that holds your jawline, your cheekbones, your entire facial frame in place starts in your mid-back? And what if a 90-second movement, something you can do sitting in a chair every morning, could restore what 10 years of creams and treatments never touched? That's what I need to show you today, because this connection changed how I think about facial aging entirely. Margaret sat down in my office about 3 years ago. She was 67, recently retired from teaching high school English for 31 years. She came in because her neck had been bothering her, stiffness on the left side, couldn't check her blind spot when driving anymore. She had to turn her whole body just to merge onto the highway. But here's what caught my attention. While she was describing her neck pain, she stopped mid-sentence and said something I've never forgotten. She said, "I know this sounds ridiculous, but I feel like my face is sliding off my skull." She laughed when she said it, but she wasn't joking, and she wasn't wrong. I asked Margaret to sit up straight and rotate her upper body to the left, just twist from the rib cage. She got maybe 15 degrees. To the right, about 18. Your thoracic spine, those 12 vertebrae in your mid-back, should rotate 35 to 40 degrees in each direction. Margaret had lost more than half her range, and she had no idea. I appreciate you being here for this, because most people have never heard what I'm about to share. If your neck has been stiff lately, just mention that in the comments. I want to know how many of you are experiencing this. Margaret had done everything right, or so she thought. She'd been using retinol for 12 years. She got facials every month. She drank 64 ounces of water a day. She'd even gone for 2 consultations about a facelift. The first surgeon quoted her $14,000. The second one said she was a great candidate, but neither surgeon asked her to rotate her spine. Neither one checked her thoracic mobility. Nobody looked at the structure underneath. And that's the part that frustrated me, because Margaret wasn't dealing with aging skin. Her skin was actually in remarkable condition. What Margaret had was a structural collapse, one that started between her shoulder blades and ended at her jawline. And no cream, no facial, no surgical procedure that only addresses skin and subcutaneous fat would ever fix a problem that lives in the connective tissue anchored to her spine. Think about it this way. Your face is like a computer monitor connected to a tower by a cable. When the display starts glitching, the colors shift, the image droops, things don't look right, you don't throw away the monitor. You check the cable running from the tower. You check the tower itself. Your thoracic spine is the tower. Your neck is the cable. Your face is the display. Margaret had been replacing the monitor every 6 months. New creams, new procedures, new consultations, but nobody checked the cable. Nobody looked at the tower. So what do you think happens when 12 vertebrae in your mid-back stop rotating? I want you to follow this with me, because once you see this chain reaction, you can't unsee it. Your thoracic spine is designed to rotate every time you walk, every time you reach, every time you turn to look at something. Your mid-back rotates. That rotation keeps the muscles between your ribs supple. It keeps the fascia, the connective tissue wrapping around your trunk, loose and hydrated. And it sends movement up through your neck like a wave traveling through a rope. But what happens when you spend 30 years sitting at a desk, or 20 years hunched over a steering wheel, or a decade looking down at a phone? Your thoracic spine gradually locks. The small rotational muscles between your vertebrae, the rotatories and multifidus, shorten. They stiffen. They essentially weld your mid-back into a fixed position. Now your body has a problem. You still need to turn your head. You still need to look around. So your cervical spine, your neck, picks up the slack. Your neck starts doing the rotation that your mid-back stopped doing. And that's where the damage begins. Because your neck was never designed to carry that rotational load alone. When it does, the deep muscles of your neck, the longest colli, the longest capitis, the deep anterior neck flexors, start shortening. They tighten, they compress, and they pull on something you've probably never heard of, the deep cervical fascia. This is a continuous sheet of connective tissue that wraps your neck like a pressure sleeve. It starts at your thoracic spine, travels up through the deep layers of your neck, wraps around your throat, and connects directly to the platysma, the broad, thin muscle that covers your entire lower face and jawline. This fascial chain is one unbroken piece of biological fabric, one continuous structural connection from your mid-back to your chin. When your thoracic spine locks and your deep neck muscles shorten, they don't just create neck pain. They pull on this entire fascial sleeve, downward, forward, like someone grabbing the bottom of a curtain and tugging. And what does that look like on the outside? Jowls, nasolabial folds deepening, that banding along the neck, that softening under the chin, the whole lower face descending. Not because your skin got old, because your fascial scaffolding got pulled down from below. If this connection between your spine and your jawline is landing for you right now, if you're thinking, why has nobody told me this? A light tells me this kind of deep explanation matters to you. I don't take that for granted. Now you might be thinking, wait, fascia doesn't have that much pulling power, does it? That's a fair question. Consider this. Fascia, pound for pound, is stronger than steel. The deep cervical fascia wraps your neck in a continuous sleeve with no gaps, no interruptions. When it shortens by even a few millimeters over months and years, it doesn't need to pull hard. It just needs to pull constantly, every hour, every day, every night while you sleep. You don't need a powerful force when you have an unrelenting one. Gravity does the heavy lifting. The locked fascia just stops fighting back. Let me give you another way to see this. Think about a quarterback who tears his rotator cuff. He doesn't just lose shoulder power. His entire throwing mechanics shift. His elbow starts compensating, then his wrist. 6 months later, he's in a specialist's office with chronic wrist pain and everyone's treating the wrist. Nobody goes back to the shoulder. Your thoracic spine is the rotator cuff in this scenario. Your cervical compensation is the elbow. And your face, your jawline, your neck contour, your lower facial structure, that's the wrist. Everyone's treating the wrist. Nobody's looking upstream. This is what I call thoracic lockdown. And I've seen it in more patients than I can count, not just Margaret. I see it in the retired postal worker who carried a bag on one shoulder for 26 years. I see it in the grandmother who spent 15 years hunched over a sewing machine. I see it in the 62-year-old man who sits in a recliner for 6 hours every evening watching television. Their faces look different, their stories are different, but the pattern is identical. Locked thoracic spine, compensating neck, shortened fascia, descending facial structure, every single time. And the ones who restored their thoracic rotation, their necks released, their fascia loosened, and their faces, without a single topical product, without a single injection, without surgery, started to lift. Not dramatically, not like a facelift, but structurally. The scaffolding came back, the foundation re-engaged, the tent pole straightened, and the tent stopped collapsing. So let's do this together, right now. This is a seated thoracic rotation. You can do it in a kitchen chair, an office chair, a dining room chair, anything without arms that lets you sit upright. Takes 90 seconds. And once you learn the position, you'll do it every morning for the rest of your life. Not because I told you to, because you'll feel the difference in your neck within 3 days and you won't want to stop. Sit tall, feet flat on the floor, about hip width apart. I want your pelvis heavy in the chair. You're not perching, you're grounded. Now cross your arms over your chest. Place each hand on the opposite shoulder. Your elbow should point forward, roughly in front of your sternum. This locks your arms out of the movement. We don't want your arms rotating. We want your spine rotating. Good. Now here's where it matters. I want you to imagine your pelvis is glued to the chair. Your hips don't move. Your lower back doesn't move. Everything below your rib cage stays absolutely still. Slowly, and I mean slowly, this isn't a stretch you rush. Rotate your upper body to the left. Lead with your left elbow. Feel the twist happening between your shoulder blades. That's your thoracic spine. That's exactly what we're targeting. Go to your end range, the point where you can't rotate any further without your hips wanting to follow. Stop there. Now breathe. Don't hold your breath. Breathe into the stretch and hold this position for 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Come back to center. Slowly reset. Take a breath. Now the same thing to the right. Lead with your right elbow. Pelvis stays glued. Lower back stays neutral. The rotation lives entirely in your mid-back. Find your end range. Hold. 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Back to center. Now we repeat once more in each direction. Left again. This time you might find you go a little further. That's your fascia releasing in real time. That's the deep rotational muscles remembering what they're supposed to do. Hold for 15 seconds. And right. Same thing. Find your new range. Hold. That's it. 90 seconds. 4 holds. 2 in each direction. Now let me tell you what just happened in your body. When you rotated your thoracic spine through its available range under a sustained hold, you did 3 things. You lengthened the rotators and multifidus, those small, deep spinal muscles that had been locked short. You introduced hydration into the thoracic fascia because fascia responds to slow, sustained loading by drawing in water like a sponge. And you released tension on the cervical chain above. Your deep neck muscles just got permission to let go of some of the compensatory work they've been carrying for years. That release travels up through the deep cervical fascia, through the platysma, to your jawline. You might be wondering, can a simple rotation really affect my face? I understand that skepticism. I had it too, the first time I started connecting these patterns. But remember what we covered. The fascia is continuous. It's one unbroken sheet from your thoracic spine to your chin. There's no gap. There's no interruption. When you restore rotation at the source, the release doesn't stop at your neck. It travels the entire chain because it's one chain. You don't need to believe me right now. Try this every morning for 1 week. You'll feel it in your neck within 3 days, and you'll start to see it in your jaw within the first month. I appreciate you staying to the science because most channels skip it. They just show you a stretch and move on. If you value understanding why something works before you do it, the subscribe button means you'll find more of this kind of depth waiting for you. Do this every morning. Ideally within the first 30 minutes of waking up, because your intervertebral discs are most hydrated after a night of sleep. They've been unloaded for 7 or 8 hours, soaking up fluid. That means your spine has the most available space for rotation first thing in the morning. You're working with your biology, not against it. The common mistakes I see are these. First, people rotate from their lower back instead of their mid-back. If your belly button is turning, you're rotating too low. The movement lives between your shoulder blades. Second, people rush. This isn't a dynamic stretch. This is a sustained hold. Slow in, hold, breathe, slow out. The fascia doesn't respond to speed. It responds to time under gentle tension. Third, people stop after a few days because they don't feel anything dramatic. This isn't dramatic, it's structural. Structural changes are quiet. They accumulate. The woman who does this for 8 weeks straight doesn't wake up one morning with a different jaw. She looks at a photo from 2 months ago and realizes something shifted. If someone you care about has been considering expensive procedures for their jawline or neck, share this with them before they do. Not because procedures are wrong, because they deserve to know what's causing the problem before they decide how to fix it. Margaret came back 8 weeks later. She'd been doing the spine twist every morning, 90 seconds after brushing her teeth, before her coffee. She said it had become as automatic as putting on her glasses. Her neck pain was gone, completely. She could check her blind spot again. She'd canceled her driving mirrors adjustment that she'd made 2 years prior. But here's what she said that stopped me. She said, "My daughter asked me last week if I'd gotten work done." Margaret hadn't gotten work done. She hadn't changed a single product in her skincare routine. She hadn't gotten injections. She hadn't gotten a facelift. She'd rotated her thoracic spine for 90 seconds a day for 8 weeks. And the fascial chain that connects her mid-back to her jawline had released enough tension to visibly change the contour of her lower face. Her jowls hadn't vanished, let me be clear about that, but the heaviness was reduced. The nasolabial folds were softer. The neck banding had relaxed. The entire lower third of her face looked like it had shifted upward by a few millimeters. Because it had. The scaffolding had re-engaged. The tent pole had straightened. Now think back to where we started. 2 things that couldn't both be true. You take care of your skin and your face still falls. That paradox made no sense until now. Because it was never about the skin. It was never about the surface. The structure that holds your face up starts between your shoulder blades. It travels through a continuous fascial chain up your neck. And when that chain gets pulled down by a locked thoracic spine, no cream in the world can pull it back up. But 90 seconds of rotation can. You now understand something that most people, including most people considering facelifts, have never been told. Your facial structure is anchored to your spinal mobility. Thoracic lockdown doesn't just give you a stiff back, it collapses the scaffolding that holds your face in place. And the fix isn't on your vanity shelf, it's in a chair, with your arms crossed, turning slowly to the left. Thank you for giving this minutes of your attention. The thoracic spine isn't glamorous. Fascia doesn't trend on social media. But you stayed because you wanted to understand what's really happening beneath the surface, and now you do. That understanding is yours. Nobody can take it back. And every morning, when you sit down and twist, you'll feel the chain that runs from your spine to your jawline wake up and do what it was always supposed to do. Hold everything in place.